Good morning, guys. Good morning. Welcome back to the Pre-Market Live. We have returned. Good morning. Good morning. Hopefully, you guys all had a fantastic weekend. Yes, we are back on the Pre-Market Live stream, guys. Welcome back. I know it's been a long time. It's been since CPI Day that we've had a Pre-Market Live. I was on my first vacation in about a year, guys. This past week, I was out in Colorado. I had a fantastic time, guys. Got some much-needed decompression. Definitely, restored some mental capital and feeling absolutely fantastic as we head into the week ahead. So welcome back. Happy Monday. Hopefully you guys had a fantastic morning and a great weekend. Obviously, guys, the big news overnight was we did have a major almost limit down, near limit down on the Hang Seng Chinese Tech Index, guys. BABA down 11% pre-market. XPeng down, I think, like 9% pre-market at last check. So we've definitely had a considerable move to the downside. However, guys, the big story of the morning that I want to go over is kind of going to be reverberating what we heard on Friday. Obviously, if you guys didn't catch it, we saw that Wall Street Journal article come out just when that 9 o'clock bell hit on last Friday, guys. We saw the Fed whisperer kind of leak out information that the Fed is considering pushing towards a 50 BPS hike in December. But really the big thing is that, really this November meeting is going to serve as the kind of launch pad for future rate aggression type of discussions, right? Where we see rates pull back, where we see the Fed become less aggressive. Daly was out on Friday with some very, very dovish comments, a clear tone change, right, from the Fed. We've seen yields in Europe, especially. We talk about that all the time, guys, but we know how important the 10-year yield is and how global yields, right? If you notice, the action midweek last week, Thursday, Friday especially, felt very, very compressed, a lot less liquidity, not a lot of major follow-through on moves, a lot of choppiness, right? Well, that's because the bond market is in shambles. We've seen TLT pretty much straight down, guys. And really, when you start to see yields get that high, you see much lower liquidity in equity markets, right? Because there's so much money flowing into, you see treasuries right up, 4% every day or whatever, right? We saw the 10-year yield really, really start moving. We saw the 2-year yield almost hit that dreaded 5 level, right? Which is like a code red type of area, at least in modern day, right? Point being, obviously, it kind of looks a little bit toppy on the yields. That's why I'm coming into today and this week with a little bit more of a bullish outlook on things. You guys know on Mondays on the Pre-Market Live, I like to talk more about kind of the macro situation that we're heading into rather than the specific technical setups themselves, just because I think it's more important to kind of view Mondays as like that's going to lay out how the week is going to kind of go. And really, it's hard to predict. I don't know what the volume's going to look like. I don't know what the tape's going to look like. I don't know what yields are going to look like Monday morning. But what I do know is, kind of like what we've come off of last week, right? So from the technical standpoint itself, we have seen the S&P 500, right? We broke out of this kind of, you can call it a downtrend, right? We briefly had a breakout this last time, right? That was on the 12th of September, failed immediately, right? Gave all that back. And really, if you look, guys, this trend line has kind of been respected all but that one day. And we obviously had that massive gap down overnight, so it's been invalidated otherwise. But we broke out of that downtrend recently, right? This, past, I believe, Tuesday. And then we saw basically 3 straight days of consolidation, right? Right on this trend line on the daily on the S&P 500, right? And that's the reason that I'm using this trend line as confluence, is because we saw that consolidation on the S&P 500 off of that. And then look what happens on Friday, right? We get that Fed whisper note out in the morning. And what do we see happen on Friday, guys? Well, first off, it's important to notice we had a major trend change. The past, I believe, 4 Fridays prior to last Friday have been really historically, right? But in close proximity, very red, right? This past Friday, we saw a 2.5% update or a 2.7% update, right? And we're up an additional 0.5% here in pre-market. So we're at 376.08 currently on the S&P 500, guys, and we've taken out that 375 resistance. This is going to be the primary thing I am watching this morning, guys, on the S&P 500 is this 375.40 level. I've talked about it, and I've talked about it. But this 375 level is key. You've heard not just me talk about it, but you've heard Book talk about it, right? We have been harping on this 375 level because of its crucial importance to the overall market, right? In order for us to see 380, 382, 388, we're going to have to hold 375 because it's just such a massive area of overhead resistance for the market, guys. You can see that pretty clearly on the daily on my screen. And that's going to be a really important to keep on watch, right? So we are going to open here. I'm going to come into the shorter time frame at the 1 hour. And look at where we're going to open on the S&P 500, guys. Kind of right above that prior major resistance area, right, which is at that 375.20 into that 375.40 level, right? That 375 area is going to be key. There is about a 40 cents area, right? 40 cent area where we had massive resistance. We are going to be looking for that prior resistance to turn into support, or are we going to fail and give all of that back, right? Because look how quickly this price action moved on the S&P 500 through these levels. Obviously, a lot of this was because of the fact that we saw that Fed Whisper article out, right? That dip on Friday morning got bought up pretty aggressively, guys, and we saw some really heavy volume come into the S&P. The important thing here is when we see major liquidity return, right, like on a Monday morning, right, heading into November, we've got 2 weeks until midterms, right? What kind of, do we see that level hold? Because I've seen it time and time again in this bear market so far. We've given back that key level breakout, right? So this morning, do we note a trend change, right? And we talk about markets all the time, but trend changes are super important. So do we notice a change in the trend? Friday was a change in the trend because we had been dumping the past, previous 4 Fridays. It had been kind of a thing, right? We just see that lower volume liquidity and kind of dump down. Well, guess what? Friday, we saw very high volume on the S&P 500, and we saw that kind of, considerable uptrend and breakout, right? So do we see 375 hold? I'm going to be watching that 375.20 very closely off of the open, guys. This is going to be the most important thing on my watch list, right? I talk about it all the time. You guys hear me talk about it. Traders want to see key breakouts retested, not in pre-market, but in clear trading hour liquidity, right? So 9:30 to 4, traders want to see those levels retested with full liquidity, not just futures or pre-market liquidity, right? Because in futures trading last night, we actually hit 380, 381, right? So it's very important to note that, this is going to be really, really important here off the open at that 375 level. That is going to be far and away my top watch off of the open is the S&P 500. After that, then I can start to gauge other things. But in order for me to gauge other setups like the ones I put out last night, like on Shopify, Coinbase, some of those other names, right? Amazon, I'm really going to have to gauge, can we hold that 375.20, 375.30 level on the S&P 500, right? As far as the Coinbase swing over the weekend, I want to cover that quickly as well, guys. Obviously, we are up about 0.5% here in pre-market. BTC was looking really good last night, has kind of failed since. But we're still actually net positive on BTC from where we were on Friday. Here's one thing I really want to cover, guys. And if you, sorry about the red dots, the technical signals. I just updated the Webull desktop app, so take those off. So really, the big thing that I'm going to be watching, guys, on Coinbase, right, is going to be that test of 73. We talked about it all the time. The next key level that I'm going to be focused on is that 67.5 level. If we can get over 67.5, that test of 73.50 is going to be my top watch today. Like I said, we are green. I'm guessing those options will open up pretty much where they closed on Friday. So my risk here is going to be that 65.5 level on the hourly, which was from the key level from Friday. So, far and away, I still really like this idea. I'm still targeting that 96 resistance level. If we can get through 84 in the next 2 to 3 weeks, that doesn't mean it's going to happen right away, but we are seeing coin pop a little bit here into the open. So again, guys, focus setup is like super condensed today. I'm watching SPY 375. It is absolutely my top watch off the open. I'm going to be watching Coinbase. Obviously, we are popping here up 1.6% now. So those calls should open up green, up 2% now on coin. So really nice pop here, even in the last 5 seconds. So, all right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and hop on the Discord live voice, and I will see you guys on live trading. It's good to be back. See you guys on live trading. Let's kill it. Peace.